If your car footage still looks flat after grading, the issue is usually not the grade itself. It's that the car and everything around it is sitting at the same exposure level. Power windows fix that, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I use them. Power windows are part of the secondary grade, which means that the primary grade needs to be dialed in first before you start making additional adjustments. So before I touch a single window, I'm getting exposure, contrast, and white balance where I want them on the color page. Once that foundation feels solid, everything else builds on top of it. If you want this exact power grade so you can follow along with the same node structure you're about to see, download it free. Link is in the description. Okay, so the primary grade is done, and I'm moving into the secondary nodes. And this is where separation happens. As you can see in the node tree, I've got 3 nodes running in parallel here: a vignette, a sharpen, and a gradient. In Resolve, parallel nodes process independently from each other. They're all reading from the same source image rather than passing the result from one node into the next. That's what makes them ideal for power windows. Each adjustment stays isolated, so the vignette isn't affecting what the sharpen node sees, and the gradient isn't stacking on top of either of them. You get clean, separate control over each part of the frame, without the adjustments bleeding into each other. They're what gives the car that extra separation from everything around it. The first node that I'm going to start off with is the vignette node. What this is doing is pulling the edges of the frame down slightly. This is not a heavy cinema vignette, just enough to keep the eye from drifting to the corners. I invert the window so I'm working on everything outside the car. Then I'll use the HDR global wheel to bring the background down with a subtle small adjustment. I'm not trying to make a dramatic change here, just creating a little distance between the car and the frame around it. Now, the instinct for most people is to brighten the car inside the window instead. That's usually where things start to look off, because it gets pushed too far and the car starts glowing instead of separating. Bringing the outside down is a more controlled way to get the same result. Now I'll increase the softness on the window. I usually make it a little bit bigger than I need, then feather it enough that the edge disappears. You don't want people noticing where the mask ends. The separation should feel like light, not like a selection. Depending on the shot, I'll also look at highlights outside the car. If there's a bright sky or a reflection pulling attention, I'll bring those down separately. Sometimes I'll pull a little saturation out of the background too. The question I'm asking the whole time is, what in the frame is competing with the car? Wherever the eye goes before it goes to the car, that's what I'm managing. Now I'll track the mask. I'm working in the frame setting on the tracking window, not clip. Clip applies the track across the entire clip automatically. Frame gives you more control. I'll set a keyframe in the middle of the shot first, then go to the end of the clip, set another keyframe, and reposition and resize the window to match where the car sits in the frame at that point. And here's something worth mentioning. You don't want this to be perfect. If the mask tracks too precisely, it starts to draw attention to itself. So a little drift, that's actually what makes it feel natural. The goal is for the separation to look like it came from the light, not from a mask someone drew around the car. Next is the gradient node. This is handling the foreground. Most of the time, the road or asphalt is pulling more attention than it should, so I'm going to darken it slightly, and sometimes I'll pull a little saturation out of it. It's the same idea as the vignette. Anything below the car that's competing with it gets pushed back. If the top of the frame is too bright, I'll add a gradient above the car as well, and that keeps the eye where it needs to be. Then I'll track it in the same way, keyframe at the end, reposition and resize to match the shot. And the same principle applies. A little imperfection in the track is what keeps it looking natural. Last is the sharpen node. This is a window sitting directly on the car. I'm keeping the sharpening value between 43 and 47, usually 47. The sharpening should be subtle and something that you may not notice right away. I'll track this one the same way, keyframe in the middle, keyframe at the end, adjust the position and size so it stays on the car without hugging it too tightly. If your footage is still fighting you after grading, leave a comment below. Is it the exposure, separation, the masking, or just not knowing what to isolate first? I'll answer in the comments. The bigger idea here is that power windows aren't really about the car. They're about controlling where the eye goes. Once you start thinking of it that way, a lot of grading decisions get easier. If this helped, go ahead and hit like. It helps me more than you think. And also hit subscribe if you want to see more of these types of videos. My name's Andrew Cooper. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.